Hello, are you bothered and worrisome about the number of texts and textbooks you need to go through in order for you to have distinction in literature in English when it comes to WAEC? Well, in this video, I am going to make it easy for you as I am going to show you 15 top topics that you should really give attention to. You reading them, I can assure you that you are going to have distinction in your exam if you hearken to the instructions I am going to give to you in this video. So, let's start. Hello everybody, my name is Ayonide Samson Oluwatobi. I am currently a second year student of Ekiti State University from the Department of Arts and Language. So you must understand that English language and literature is my focus. I mean, that is my own field of study. So I will want you to really give ears when I tell you some things that you really need to focus on when it comes to literature. Alright, so I have some couple of lists on my laptop here that I've gathered. I've checked the past questions and I've been able to gather some topics that you really need to cover before going for this examination. Alright, so I'll begin to read some of these things out for you. Please, I want you to take your pen as you begin to write down these topics. Read on it extensively and I can assure you that you are having distinction when it comes to literature. Now, before we dive into that, you must understand that literature is of two types. Alright, we have the objective and we have the theory. Now, in the theory aspect, I mean the written aspect, you must understand that you really need to read the text recommended for you. I mean the prose, the poetry, and the drama. Alright, both the African and the non-African. Read it. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 15 topics that you really need to focus on. The first thing I want you to really focus on is characterization. And when I begin to mention some of these things, I'll just talk about them briefly. Alright, probably if there is any of them you want me to elaborate on, you can easily comment it down on this video that okay, you want to know more about this particular term in literature, and I will do my best to record the video and explain to you. I need you to understand that there is a difference between character and characterization. Now, character is somebody. Character is that person. For example, we have Tinubu as the president of Nigeria. Now, that is a character. Now, whatsoever thing that Tinubu is doing is the characterization. What has been scripted by the author or writer of a particular book, that this is what this particular character will begin to do. That is the characterization. You really need to focus on themes. I mean, you really need to focus on themes. Themes is very, very important for you. Alright, now theme is the central idea. It is the central idea in any text, in any literary work. Now in English, we begin to talk about topic, sentence, or thesis statement. Alright, now when we talk about that, we are talking about central ideas, what the book comprises. But in literature now, we begin to talk about themes. Now, themes is different from subject matter. Please, you need to understand this. So how I wish I can have enough time to begin to explain some of these terms for us. But just let me share it short, and if you don't understand and you really want me to elaborate more, I can dedicate my time to at least make some videos on that. Now, theme is the central idea. For example, we can have more than one theme in a particular work of art. Alright, we can have theme of corruption, theme of wealth, theme of social hierarchy, theme of class and all. But subject matter is that one thing. For example, if you have read, I think Harvest of Corruption is part of the book recommended. I'm not sure, but I think it should be, but I'm not really sure. Now, if Harvest of Corruption is part of the books recommended for you, if you are going to pick the subject matter of that particular work, we are going to say corruption. Reason means that corruption is the basic thing or the general knowledge being shared in that work. Now, if we are going to be talking about theme, we can begin to talk about theme of power, theme of this, theme of that. Do you understand what I'm talking about? You need to understand symbolism. And you also need to know that symbolism is different from imagery. Now, for example, if you see a cross, maybe I put on a necklace with a cross. Alright, this is not a cross. Alright, so I put on a necklace with a cross on it. Alright, now it is symbolism. Symbolizing, anywhere you see a cross, it symbolizes what? It symbolizes Jesus, right? Good. And anywhere you see a diagram with wings at the back, we say it is an angel. Do you understand what symbolism means now? So symbolism is using something to represent a part, is representing a whole. Okay, so let me ask also a question in order for me to really know that you understand the difference between symbolism and imagery. Now, what is that one thing that we can use to replace a king apart from the crown? You know, if you talk about crown, we are talking about king. Now, what is other thing that is used by a king that if we mention it, you will know that, oh, we are talking about royalty, we are talking about king. What is that thing? I want you to drop it in the comment section. Now, imagery. Imagery is when a writer begins to portray to you graphical images, that the way the writer is describing the work, you are having some graphical pictures in your mind. That is what we mean by imagery. So you need to read extensively on figurative language. Figurative language like metaphor, simile, personification, pun, and all of those figurative languages. All right, you really need to understand it. And there's some misconceptions about simile and metaphor, of which I will not want to dive in now. If there is enough time for me to explain, then I will begin to explain, because if I begin to ask you now what is the difference between simile and metaphor, you say one is direct and one is indirect. But if I want to begin to explain to you now, it can cause confusion. Read more on poetic devices. All right, poetic devices like rhyme and rhythm. You see, there's a difference between rhyme and rhythm, but most students do not understand the difference between rhyme and rhythm. Now, when we say something as rhyme and something as rhythm, now these two are musical elements and they are basically used in poetry. All right, when you say, okay, we even use this word in our day-to-day conversations. We say, this thing has rhyme and this thing has rhythm. Now, when it has rhythm, it means it sounds musical. When it has rhyme, a part where we refer to as sonnets. Yes, so we have this in sonnets. We have Elizabethan sonnets, right? We have Shakespearean sonnets. We have the French sonnets. Now, there's a common sonnet that I'm very, very sure it will be common to SS3 sonnet is the A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G, right? That is the Shakespeare. You need to understand tone and mood. Now, tone, it means intonation, how the word is being said. And I use an example in English that I posted some time back, that if I say you are stupid and if I say you are stupid, now the difference between these two, there's a sign in English which we call exclamation mark. All right, now one, I have to use stress, I have to pronounce it with aggression, and the other I just say it silently. Now the first one, the later one, the way I said it will make the person to be calm, okay, and try to listen, okay, what does this person really have to say? But the other one, it will only cause curiosity, it will cause anger, and the person will retaliate. You need to understand the historical and cultural context. All right, you need to know what inspires the work of art, the historical background about it, the context of which the work is written. If there's anything you need me to explain to you, just comment it down this video and I'm going to try my best to make video in explaining to you. And also character environment interaction. You need to understand how characters relate with their environment. For example, we have settings, and if you are given a question on settings, and I think I answered a question on that when I did my own work on settings. Now settings has to do with background, it has to do with place, time, and every other things like that. You can get example course in order for you to read some of these things in volume. So make sure you understand irony and satire. Know the difference between them also. Now, if I use an ironical word, actually you are saying the opposite of what you actually said. You mean the opposite of what you actually said. That is irony. That is ironical. But satire, it ridicules people in order to show morals, in order to portray morals, or to correct the moral decadency in the society. You can read more on that. Also, foreshadowing and suspense. Foreshadow, it means trying to portray something that is yet to happen, something that will still happen. And also suspense, the writer is putting you in a position whereby you are thinking, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen. And we also have flashback, that is going back to what has previously happened. So I really wanted to explore this so that you will know how writers create suspense, or how they play with emotions of people in the work of art. Also, you need to read on allusion. All right, you know what allusion means. You really need to read on it also, so that all these things are techniques that writers use in order to create some kind of suspense, to create some image in the mind of readers. So you need to read on thematic development. Now, that is how themes in a work of art are being developed. Read on it. All these things I've been saying, definitely they are going to test you in the theory aspect and in the objective aspect. So you really need to give attention to it. And like I will always say, these things that I've shared with you, you may check last year's past question and don't find everything there, but I am very, very sure that with this, I'm very, very sure for this literature, with these 15 topics I have shared with you, if nothing is coming out, about 12 of it is going to come out for your WAEC examination. All right, both in the theory aspect and in the objective aspect. So if you can definitely read through these 15 things I have spoken to you about, trust me, you are not going to have any serious problem when it comes to WAEC. You are not going to depend on anybody to teach you anything on. And please, let me tell you this, do not cheat. Cheating can only cover your shame for a limited time, but when you gain admission, it's going to open you up to a lot of disgrace. I've made my research on subsequent years about 20 years back to this moment, I have checked, and these topics I have given to you are topics that I know they will always come out. So thank you everybody for actually watching it out. I want you to also watch the ones I've made on English language and other subjects, the topics that you should focus on for WAEC and even for JAMB and every other thing. On this YouTube channel, like I said, you always get content that has to do with academics. It's going to help you in your academics. I want you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I want you to like this video and comment. If you don't have anything to say, you can simply say thank you. It serves as encouragement that I'm not actually wasting time. People are watching the kind of videos I'm dropping. I'm making this, I'm not getting any money from it. I'm just doing it because of interest, just to help people. All right, so thank you and God bless you. Success in your exams. Bye.